I want you to picture a scenario. It's a Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah, the classic Tuesday night.
Right. You've had a really long day at work, maybe 10 hours of meetings, emails, putting out fires constantly.
Just completely drained.
Exactly. You are finally sitting down on your couch. You've got a show queued up, maybe a glass of wine or a cup of tea, and your body is just starting to unclench for the first time all day, and then your phone buzzes.
And for the people we're talking about today, that buzz isn't just a noise, it is an actual physiological event.
Yes. You see the name on the screen. Maybe it's your mom or your brother or that one chaotic cousin we all have.
Right.
And your stomach doesn't just drop. It completely vanishes. Your shoulders instantly shoot up to your ears. You haven't even read the text yet, right? You haven't picked up the call. But your brain is already running a full simulation.
What's wrong? Who's fighting?
Exactly. How much is this going to cost me? How do I fix it?
And the underlying feeling there isn't just annoyance. It's terror. It's this profound sensation that you are the absolute only structural beam holding the entire family building together.
Like if you don't answer that text, the roof collapses.
The roof collapses, and it's your fault.
So if that specific flavor of panic sounds familiar to you, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking a specific archetype that researchers and psychologists call the family pillar.
It's a fascinating group.
It really is. And we have a massive stack of sources today. We're pulling from clinical psychology journals, somatic therapy guides, and they all suggest that being this pillar isn't just a personality quirk.
No, it's actually a trauma response.
Which is a heavy topic, but a really necessary one to get into. Because on the surface, being a pillar sounds like a compliment, right?
Oh, absolutely. People say things like, oh, she's the rock of the family.
Right. Or he's the one we can always count on. But the literature we're looking at today draws a really sharp distinction between being supportive and being a pillar.
That's the core of it. Being supportive is a choice you make. Being a pillar is a compulsion you literally can't stop.
That distinction right there, choice versus compulsion, is where we are going to spend a lot of time today. Our mission is to uncover why this happens. We're using a really fascinating 5 whys analysis from the source material.
Which goes so deep into the root causes.
It really does. And we're going to look at the physical toll. Because, spoiler alert, your back pain might actually be emotional.
It usually is for this group.
Yeah. And then we're going to walk through a recovery plan. And I love this part because it's not just talk therapy. We've got actionable steps ranging from internal dialogue scripts to literal physical movements from somatic therapy to help you put that weight down.
What stands out to me in the research is that most people who identify as the family pillar, they just think they're being good people.
Right. They think it's about morality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we really dig into the psychology of it, the root cause is so much deeper than just being nice. It's not about politeness. It's about survival. It's about safety.
That is the part that really blew my mind reading through all this. It's primal. It's a survival mechanism.
Not full primal.
So here's the deal for you listening right now. If you feel incredibly guilty taking a single day off, or if you constantly have this tension in your neck, like you are physically carrying the world, this deep dive is specifically for you.
So let's start with the diagnosis.
Yeah. How do we know if we are a pillar?
The sources emphasize that this presents in the body first. Being a family pillar has a very distinct physical profile.
They call it the heavy shoulders. And I just love how literal this is. It's chronic tension in the trapezius muscles, the neck, the upper back.
It's the body somaticizing the weight of responsibility. Somaticizing just meaning physicalizing.
Right.
Think about it. If you were walking around mentally feeling like you're carrying a 100-pound backpack of everyone else's problems, your muscles are going to engage as if that weight is real.
So you're hiking up a mountain, bracing for a heavy load, but you're actually just sitting at a desk typing an email?
Exactly. It's a state of constant bracing. Your nervous system is hypervigilant. It's expecting a crisis at any moment, so your muscles armor up.
And they never get the signal that the war is over.
No. So they never relax.
And then there's the emotional symptom that really stood out to me from the text, which is guilt over rest.
Oh, yeah.
The feeling that you are genuinely a bad person if you say no or if you just take a break. Like, if you aren't actively suffering for the group, you aren't doing your job.
That ties directly into the fixer habit. This is a key symptom mentioned across the board in our sources. It's the automatic reflex to jump in and solve a problem before anyone has even asked you to.
Yes. You see a family member struggling or even just frowning, and you immediately think, I have to resolve this.
It's like being an emotional paramedic who is just always on duty.
But here's the kicker from the research. The pillar isn't usually fixing the problem just to be nice. They are fixing it to lower their own anxiety.
That is such a crucial insight. If I fix your problem, you stop being upset. If you stop being upset, the environment becomes calm. And if the environment is calm, I feel safe.
So the fixing is actually a self-soothing mechanism for the pillar.
Exactly. Which explains why it inevitably leads to emotional burnout. You're running everyone else's race plus your own.
You give 100% to everyone else, leave 0% for yourself, and then wonder why you feel so empty.
So we have the symptoms: tension, guilt, compulsive fixing, burnout. But the big question, the one our sources really dive into, is why?
Why do some people become pillars while their siblings, raised in the exact same house, might be perfectly happy to just let everything fall apart?
And this brings us to the concept of parentification.
Parentification. It's a term getting a lot more traction lately.
It is. But in clinical terms, it happens when the roles in a family are essentially reversed. A child is forced to grow up way too fast. Instead of the parents meeting the child's emotional needs, the child learns to meet the parents' needs.
And the sources distinguish between two types here, right? There's the practical stuff and the emotional stuff.
Right. Instrumental parentification is the practical stuff. Watch your sister, heat up dinner, pay the bills. That's tough on a kid. But the research suggests emotional parentification is far more damaging.
This is when a parent treats the child like a therapist or a partner.
Yes. Hearing things like, "Your father is so mean to me," or "I'm so depressed, you're the only thing keeping me going."
That is just such a massive burden for a child. It teaches them a very specific lesson about their worth.
Precisely. They learn that their value is tied strictly to being useful. They aren't loved just for existing. They are safe and accepted only when they are solving problems, mediating arguments, or managing the emotional climate of the entire house.
So fast forward 20 years, you don't just grow out of that, you refine it. You become a professional pillar.
You've practiced it for 10,000 hours. It's your default setting.
Okay, so to really understand the mechanics of this and ultimately to stop doing it, the source material uses the 5 whys framework.
Which is a great tool.
I usually see this in business consulting, to figure out why a factory line broke down, but
Yeah.
applying it to family trauma is fascinating.
It creates a chain of logic. It stops us from just saying "I'm anxious" and forces us to actually ask, where does that anxiety come from?
Let's walk through the specific chain provided in the text. I want everyone listening to imagine we are analyzing a typical family pillar. Question 1. Why do these individuals carry everyone else's problems?
The answer the text gives is because they feel a deep, compulsive need to fix everything so the family stays stable.
Okay, but we have to go deeper. Question 2. Why do they feel responsible for the family's stability? Like, why is it their job?
Because they possess a core belief that if they stop helping, even for a moment, something terrible will happen. The family will collapse. Disaster will strike.
Which leads to question 3. Why do they fear a collapse so much? Most adults know that if you don't answer a phone call, the world doesn't end. Why does the pillar feel like it will?
This goes right back to childhood. The answer is because, as children, they learned that their environment was only safe when everyone else was calm and taken care of.
Right. If mom was upset or dad was volatile, the world was literally unsafe. So question 4. Why was their safety tied to others' happiness?
Because their own needs were ignored or overshadowed by the drama of the adults. They learned they didn't have the luxury of having their own bad day because the adults were taking up all the emotional space in the room.
And that brings us to the final question, the root cause. Why does this behavior persist now when they are adults living in their own homes?
Because of that root belief. They must manage the emotional climate to be safe. It's not about being helpful. It's about regulating the environment so they don't get hurt. They believe I am helpful, therefore I am safe.
Man, I am helpful, therefore I am safe. That is a really hard wire to cut. It completely explains why just relaxing feels dangerous. You're asking them to drop their shield.
Exactly. You can't just tell a pillar to go take a bubble bath. Their brain screams that they're leaving the castle unguarded.
So how do we actually convince the brain to lower the drawbridge? The sources pivot here to internal family systems, or IFS. This is a really powerful model for this specific issue.
IFS suggests that our personality is made up of different parts. For the family pillar, the dominant part is often called the hero or the caretaker.
The source uses this analogy that I found really moving. It describes this hero part as a soldier who never leaves their post.
That's a great image. Think about a soldier who's been guarding a gate for 20, maybe 30 years. The soldier believes that if he puts his weapon down, even for a single second, the inner child, what IFS calls the exile, the part holding all that original pain of being unloved, will be attacked.
So this soldier isn't doing this to be annoying or to burn you out. It's doing it out of love and protection.
Exactly. And that changes how we treat it. Usually when we want to change a habit, we fight it. We say, stop overworking, stop caring so much.
Right.
But in IFS, fighting the part just makes it dig in harder. The soldier isn't going to leave his post just because you yelled at him. He thinks you're in danger.
So what's the actionable fix here? The source gives a specific script for talking to this part of yourself.
The goal is appreciation. You want to acknowledge the work the soldier has done. The script suggested is, I see how hard you've been working to keep us safe. You've done a great job. You kept us alive when we were small. But you don't have to do it alone anymore.
You don't have to do it alone anymore. That gives me chills a little bit. It's acknowledging that the war is over. You're an adult now. You have resources. You don't need a child soldier guarding the gate against your mother's bad mood.
When that part feels appreciated rather than attacked, it can finally stand down. It relaxes. And when that mental part relaxes, often the body follows.
Speaking of the body, let's pivot to the somatic therapy section. Because as we said earlier, this stress is stored in the muscles. You can't just think your shoulders into relaxing if they've been tight since 1998.
Right. The mind might understand I'm safe, but the nervous system is a lot slower. It's still expecting the backpack of responsibility, so we need a physical release to signal that the load is gone.
The source details a specific exercise called the shoulder drop. And I want you, listening right now, unless you're driving, to try this with us. It's deceptively simple, but really effective.
It operates on the principle of exaggeration. To relax a muscle, sometimes you first have to max it out. So step one, breathe in and pull your shoulders up to your ears as tight as you possibly can. I mean, really scrunch them up. You want to simulate that extreme tension.
Okay, so we're squeezing, creating that brace feeling on purpose.
Hold it for 5 seconds, feel the burn, and then on the exhale, let them drop completely. Just dead weight.
Like cutting a string.
Exactly. And the visualization here is key. As you drop them, imagine a heavy, dusty backpack falling off your back and hitting the floor with a thud.
That thud is important.
It is. You need to signal to your nervous system that the load is physically gone. And the source says repetition is important here. Do it 10 times. You're essentially retelling your nervous system a new story. You are manually overriding the brace for impact signal.
I love that. It's like you have to physically show your body, look, we put the bag down, we are okay. So we've addressed the hero part in the mind, we've dropped the backpack from the body. Now we need to look at the trickiest part. Behavior. How we interact with the people who are used to us fixing everything.
This is where we talk about leaky boundaries.
Leaky boundaries. It sounds like a plumbing issue, but it's actually about emotional containment.
It means you have trouble distinguishing where your emotional responsibility ends and someone else's begins. You think other people's problems are literally your problems. You are porous.
So to plug the leaks, the source suggests strategies from CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. The main tool here is something called fact-checking.
This is about pausing that automatic fixer reflex. Before you jump in to save the day, you have to ask yourself a question. Is this my problem, or am I trying to do their homework for them?
Doing their homework for them, that really puts it in perspective. If you do a kid's math homework every night, they never learn calculus.
Exactly. If you fix your family member's emotional crisis every single time, if you mediate the fight, pay the bill, smooth over the conflict, they never learn resilience. You're actually robbing them of the opportunity to grow.
That is a tough pivot if you're used to being the savior. You feel like you're abandoning them.
But you're not. And the source suggests a specific script for this too. Instead of saying, here, let me fix that, you say, I hear you're having a hard time, and I believe you have the strength to handle it.
I believe you have the strength to handle it. It feels cold at first. My inner hero is screaming that I'm being mean.
It feels cold to the part of you that equates love with rescuing. But in reality, it's a vote of confidence. Rescuing someone is actually kind of insulting. It says, I don't think you're capable, so I'll do it. Stepping back says, I trust you. You are building a fence, not a wall. You can still care, but you stay in your yard.
That is such a crucial reframe. Finally, we have a technique from NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming. This is about rewiring that core identity we talked about earlier, that I am helpful, therefore I exist belief.
This is one of my favorites because it utilizes a habit you already have. We want to use an anchor, a physical trigger, to reset your mental state.
And the technique involves hand washing. Which is great because we all do it 10 times a day.
Exactly. The idea is to turn this mundane act into a ritual. As you stand at the sink and feel the water and soap, you say a specific mantra internally. I am responsible for my own happiness first.
I am responsible for my own happiness first.
And you visualize the other people's problems, the guilt, the obligation, the need to fix, literally washing off your hands and swirling down the drain. You link the physical sensation of clean, light hands to the psychological feeling of washing away emotional clutter.
It's basically hacking your brain. By the end of the day, if you wash your hands 8 times, you've affirmed that new belief 8 times. You're interrupting the loop.
It disrupts the pattern. And that's what all of these tools are about, disrupting the pattern of survival so you can actually start living.
So let's recap this journey because we've covered a lot of ground today. We started with the family pillar, the person who keeps the family from collapsing, but suffers in silence with neck pain and guilt.
We trace that back to parentification, the childhood need to manage adults to stay safe. We looked at the hero soldier who needs to be thanked, not fought.
We physically dropped the backpack with the shoulder drop exercise. We built healthy fences by fact-checking whose problem it actually is. And finally, we used the hand-washing anchor to remind ourselves that we are allowed to be clean of other people's mess.
It's a comprehensive approach, mind, body, and behavior. You can't just do one. You have to do them all to really shift this dynamic.
It really is. And it brings us back to that core listener we talked to at the beginning, the one bracing for the text message on a Tuesday night. The reality is, your value exists completely outside of your utility to others. You are allowed to just be. You are a person inside the house, not just the foundation holding it up.
That's the hardest lesson for a pillar to learn, but it's easily the most important one.
Now, before we go, I want to leave you with a thought that came up when we were discussing the fact-checking section. It's a bit of a provocation.
It really challenges the pillar's greatest fear.
The pillar believes that if they stop propping everyone up, it's a disaster. The family falls apart. But here's the question I want you to mull over. If the family pillar stops propping everyone up, is it actually a disaster? Or is stepping back the only way to allow the rest of the family to finally build their own strength?
If you never put the weight down, no one else ever gets the chance to see how strong they might be. Maybe you aren't the glue holding them together. Maybe you're the crutch keeping them from walking.
Something to think about the next time you reach for the soap. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Take care of yourself.